Hello, welcome to the EBS-50 tutorials. My name is Jurgen Rodenhuis. I'm one of the developers of the ESL server software. And in this episode, we're going to talk about the logs. Now, logs are basically the very first point of where you want to start looking when you have any issues. In several of the other episodes in this tutorial series, I've already said, well, if there is an issue, you can look in the log. If a certain user action has been performed, you can find it in the logs. So let's take an actual look at these logs. We'll go to Advanced and Logs. And the system keeps track of certain types of events and logs them in those specific logs. And we've got 5 of them. The event log, so anytime an event happens. The change log, anytime something has happened that changes something, like it has changed a link, it has changed a product, it is logged there. That change may also be an event, so some of those logs may be in multiple logs at the same time. That is to be expected. Log messages, which are basically more warnings. I encountered something, I know how to circumvent it, but this wasn't what was supposed to happen. For instance, something went wrong with new data being sent to the product database. I can't do anything because the database went and said, I don't know that key. That's odd. That would be in the log messages. The label status, that is a very long log, and every single ESL that has ever been on the system is logged in that label status log. And the base station status, 3 guesses, logs the status of every single base station that has ever been connected to this system. So let's start with the event log. We'll open it up. It will now talk to the database and ask him for the latest records. This is a paginated view, so we can say how many items do we want to see on the page and what page do we want to go to, like, I don't know, 100. Well, there aren't actually 100 pages, there are 19. It will tell us which records we're looking at. You can also sort on columns, ascending, descending. Let's go descending and look at the very first page. So what are the most recent events that we encountered? Well, here's an interesting one. The API/v2/mec failed. The index and the length must refer to a location within the string. This is a very low-level description of what went wrong. This is something that went wrong in the backend, and this is obviously connected to the API, so if you run into anything like that, you're trying to send information to an API and you're for sure that the endpoint is being addressed properly, you can look in the log what is wrong. Or here you can see that the base station with this IP address went offline. So basically everything that has ever gone wrong on this system, whether it be right now or days ago or at completely different times, it's all logged into the database. Changes. Well, what are the changes that you saw? Well, it's telling me, there was an import of a SQL file. Changes were made and saved in a template. An ESL has been linked. And I talked in the episode of the API about if someone uses the API to link or uses the UI to link, the logged in user is logged. And you can see that here. The user named admin at this specific time linked a set of ESLs. Or the user admin at this specific time changed the database settings. So if you've lost connection to the database, well, go and look at who changed the database settings. Then the log messages, and those are just, messages. They are maybe to inform the user, or maybe there to say something went completely right, but it is important to remember that it happened. For instance, we create an export and I can't find the export anywhere. Well, it says here, well, I did correctly export it to this path in your download folders. Or I couldn't load the link staging table. I wasn't able to connect to the MySQL hosts. Now that is a little bit bigger issue. So this is one of those log messages that will probably also be logged in a different table. Most likely the top one with the event log. Then the label status. Like I said, every single ESL that has ever been connected to this system will be in this list, along with the latest information. So let's say, for instance, that there is a certain EE-750R unit, and we've just lost it. It's supposed to be online. As far as we know, the batteries are still correct. So let's take a look. When was the last time that we saw it? We can say, I want to see a 750R. You can also say on which column you want it to search. Well, it's part of the variant, so here we go. And we can see, for instance, that this P2C4D, which is standing here in the store, the last time we saw it, it said, I have this firmware version. I've got information sent at this time, and well, it has been a few hours since the last time it sent information. It's been a few hours since the last time it sent an image. And you can use all of this low-level data to find out, well, what went wrong? Was there something wrong with the battery? Was there something wrong with the firmware version? Was there a really bad connection quality the last time we saw him? And the last log table is the base station status. Now this is probably the shortest one. During the course of these tutorials, I have connected to a handful of base stations, and we can see here, as with the ESLs, what was the information about that system the last time we saw it. Well, the last time we saw this one, well, it's actually currently connected. What IP it was on, what port I was connecting to it, the model, and the number of ESLs that are on board. But you can also see, yeah, this unit has disconnected, and when it disconnected, it had 0 ESLs left on board. So, yeah, those are the logs, the functions of each of the logs, and how to read them. Now, if you ever have to read the logs, you are probably encountering an issue that you don't really understand. And even with information from the logs, you cannot pinpoint exactly what is going wrong. Well, you can always contact our support department at Opticon. The links in the description will tell you how to contact our support department. If you want to watch other videos in this tutorial series, also you can find the links to that playlist in the description. I'd like to thank you for your attention, and I will see you next time.